Hello my dear friends, I hope you all are doing good. This is Prashant Mauni and I warmly welcome all of you to Study IQ. Today is Sunday. I'm sure you all are enjoying your Sunday. Let's start our day with a positive quote. Failure is fuel for success if you choose so. Shared by Robin Sharma. Now, dear friends, recently we have added many new pen drive and tablet courses. For that, you have to check out StudyIQ.com. You will find test series on SSC, CGL plus CHSL. We have recently launched GPSC, that is Gujarat Public Service Commission's pen drive and tablet course. Apart from that, we have got many optional subjects of UPSC and many more things. So make sure you check out StudyIQ.com. Let me tell you that this pen drive and tablet courses will help you immensely with your preparation. Now, the first item that we have is pertaining to Siang River. We have talked about Siang River earlier on as well, and many of you might have checked out special video lecture that is available both in Hindi and English on Siang River. Right, it was last month in December 2017 when we talked about this thing, Siang River, in detail. So if you haven't checked it, I would recommend you guys to do check it out because it is a very important river. You find tribal community as well, and you find this sort of questions in your exams as well. And needless to say, this is pertaining to Brahmaputra River, right? Basically, this Siang River, right, is a part of, or you can say Brahmaputra becomes Brahmaputra, or you in Tibet you have this Zarlung Zangpo Yarlung River, and then it enters India from Arunachal Pradesh. Let me show you a map here, right? So here it enters from Tibet, it enters into India. In this portion, in this bit here, it is known as either Dihang, or the local tribal community Adi people, they call it Siang, right? So you have a Siang district here as well, and it is an international water body that we are talking about. It includes your China, India as well as Bangladesh. Very important river, so should know in and out about it. With this, dear friends, at present Kiran Rijiju has said that government is going to wait for Central Water Commission's report to find out whether the water that is getting, or you can say the muddy water of Siang at present, whether this has happened because of a man-made thing or man-made activity by China, or whether it is something natural. China says that it took place, or this thing is happening because of a 6.4 magnitude earthquake that hit Tibet portion back in 2017, November 2017. So China is saying this is the river. If you see and meet people, or what the local people they have to say is that this sort of things did take place back in time, right, in 1950s as well. There was a big earthquake at that point of time. This river became a bit muddier, but things were sorted out within a couple of weeks. So let's see, right? We are at present waiting for it, and you can see here this is the Tibetan plateau, and many of the mightiest rivers in the world, or you can say Asian rivers, they are originating from this portion, Tibet here. In India we have Indus as well as Brahmaputra. Apart from that, if you see ASEAN countries, right, then this Mekong River is a very important river for them, and Irrawaddy for Myanmar. So China is, or you can say this portion of Tibet is blessed with origination of many rivers. Some of the purest water you can find, you find it over here. But at present it is believed that China is diversifying this water. It wants to provide water to this portion here. Now this portion here is a desert portion, and it is again important for India because the CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, that passes from Pakistan occupied Kashmir, is basically connecting this portion with this portion here. So I think this is one of the reasons why China wants to, because China wants to develop this portion, so it is trying to provide it with water. These are the things that are reported by media. In fact, a letter that was written by one MP of Arunachal Pradesh, he has written a letter to Prime Minister of our country, and in that letter he has talked about this thing. You will find all these things in that particular special video lecture. Let me take you through other items that we have here. See, you can imagine that when your domestic animals as well as wild animals and aquatic life is getting destroyed, then the people who are relying on fishing, or you can say the domestic animals on which are part of their livelihood, right, when they are dying because of the water, this turbid and muddy and poisonous water of Siang, then of course it is going to impact their livelihood, as well as it is going to compromise this Brahmaputra Valley civilization, right. At present, as per reports, it is said that 1,000-kilometer tunnel is being constructed by China to provide water to this Taklim Khan desert. With this, dear friends, something not directly related with China but indirectly, and you can see here Vijay Gokhale, he is going to take over as new foreign secretary by the end of this month. Jai Shankar, right, S. Jai Shankar, who is at present the foreign secretary, his tenure is going to end by the end of this month, and new foreign secretary will carry on for next 2 years. If we see his profile, then we find that he has played a pivotal role in building good relationship with ASEAN. Then he's also credited with the recent, you can say, or the upcoming, not the recent, but the upcoming, recently Prime Minister visited Israel, Prime Minister of India visited Israel. This time, 14th January, we are going to see Israeli Prime Minister visiting India. Then you have Jordan as well here. And one important thing that I would like to highlight here is that this year, that is 2018, we are going to see many elections going to take place in this SAARC region. What we need to ensure, or the role, or you can say one of the important challenge in front of new foreign secretary, is to ensure that the governments that we have, or whether the old regimes, if they continue, or if new phases are going to take place in this SAARC region, right, due to elections, then we have to ensure that the new government is pro-India, right. We don't, I'm not saying that we need some anti-China government, right. I don't think so. That is something that we are seeking for, and that is not going to practically take place as well, right. At the end of the day, we are all interdependent on each other, but we need a pro-government India, a pro-India government in our neighborhood, so that we can at least, you can say, to some extent we can reduce the pressure that is being created by China, because China, as we know, that it is trying to penetrate, and in fact it has started penetrating in this South Asia region. With this, he is also credited for playing a very important role in sorting out this Doklam crisis, and both Indian as well as Chinese leaders do appreciate Mr. Gokhale's role. He has played, or you can say his experience includes working with USA, Russia, Japan and EU. With this difference, let's move on. And one last thing that I would like to share here is that see, the role of, or the products, or you can say the result, right, of foreign secretary and the actions that have been taken by him or her will finally depend on how much Prime Minister is listening to new foreign secretary, as well as implementing the things that are suggested by foreign secretary. This is something just for your understanding. It's not that important for your examination anyways. With this, moving on, Lalu Prasad has got 3.5 year jail. Now this incident is a very important one. The reason is that if you read between the lines, then you will find that it directly is a topic of representative of people, right? How should RP how should he or she behave, right? Lalu Prasad is a very famous face in our country. He has been there around us for a very long period of time, and when we find that after a very long period of these cases are going on for ages, and finally after 15-16 years we are seeing the results coming out, and again they are going to apply for bail. So it forces us to ask many questions whether we should get rid of this thing, that if a high court is giving you a sort of punishment, then you cannot take some more time and go to Supreme Court and then waste time of course, you know that when evidences are against you, and this sort of things do take place just to get some extra time. We have also seen that he is been provided with a bail, and he has played a very important role in last elections as well. So you can imagine that this system, or the way things are, right, it is working, or it is working fine for people like Lalu Prasad and others. And there are many, right, there are many people in our country who have done this sort of things, but still they are fighting a very long battle, or we are fighting in a sense, right? Government as well as society is fighting a very long battle, because it takes ages. So these are the things that we should think about. One more thing that I would like to add here as food for thought, and that is, should we ban this sort of politicians, or any politicians who are being awarded any sort of punishment for the crime? At present, we know that they cannot take part for 6 years if they are convicted, or if they are punished for something that includes more than 2 years. But how about a lifetime ban? Because this is something that is applied on civil servants as well, isn't it? So something similar should be applied on them. So these are the things, food for thoughts, you can say. You find questions on this sort of topics, right? So next time, of course, whenever we will find any editorials, and I believe we will find some editorials as well as articles on this particular topic, right, on this Lalu Prasad and jail thingy. So we will analyze things in future, of course, but chances are high that you may find a question in your mains examination, or they may ask you a question in your interview as well. With this privilege notice is been issued against Rahul Gandhi. He used a term, or you can say, rather than using the word Jaitli, he has used the word Jaitlai. So this is taken as a derogatory comment, and here the most important thing is how it works, right? So basically, Rahul Gandhi is a member of Lok Sabha, so chairman of Rajya Sabha has sent a notice to Speaker of the House, that is Sumitra Mahajan, and this Speaker of the House, Lok Sabha Speaker, will pass this, or will hand over this notice to Rahul Gandhi. So this is how it works, just a sort of protocol, right? With this, 4 policemen have been killed in an IED, that is improvised explosive device, that detonated, right? It was the act of terrorism. And the sad thing is, 4 policemen passed away, or they have got their life, right? Basically, they sacrificed their life in protecting citizens. Now, the thing is, when you have this sort of situation, right, where militants or terrorists are freely hunting down, it's not that easy as well, right? But this sort of things do take place every other day. So we have to ask ourselves, or you can imagine a scenario like a trained person, particularly in this sort of areas. You have this policeman and other uniform service people. They are highly trained. They are being sensitized about the things, or the possible threats that they can, or they may be exposed to, and things like that. But imagine the situation of civilians. Of course, we know that when we live in this sort of areas, then we are a bit alert compared to normal area. But then as well, when militants are not frightened by this uniform service people as well, then it will be very easy to understand that civilians are very vulnerable. Of course, we have to change this thing, and we are working quite well as well. Hopefully, it is been said by the government of India that by 2019, Jammu and Kashmir will be, this militant thing would be over from Jammu and Kashmir. Let's pray and let's hope that this thing turns out to be a reality. Fatal crossing, this is killing so many tigers. Basically, in Maharashtra, what happened is, it's very sad that a male tiger, a dominant male tiger, was killed because of a vehicle accident. Now the thing is, we have to find out a different sort of way in dealing with, or whenever we construct a road, right? These are the mistakes of the past. We have many best practices around the world. Say for example, building a road on a sort of bridge, right? So that animals can easily pass from the space below this bridge. So this could be this is something that we should think about. The other thing is that the drivers should be sensitized, and signboards should be provided. If any road is passing from any jungle area, they should of course keep a sort of their pedal, right? They should not be too much luxurious with their pedal, or the speed should be controlled. You can place CCTV cameras and this you know, that they capture your, if you are speeding, over speeding, then you could be given with or you could be punished or fined, right? This sort of situations should be, or this sort of setup is something that is required, because here animals, right, this is how they behave. It is part of their range, and they are of course going to loiter here, and they are going to come across road as well. So it is us, the human beings, who have to change the way things are been constructed around this sort of protected areas. The other thing is that it is not just the tigers. There are other endangered species as well that are highly vulnerable because of this sort of accidents taking place. And the sad thing is that when you basically create a sort of hindrance in the free movement of tigers and other animals, then we also see a sort of drop in their genetic diversity, right? And this makes them vulnerable towards many diseases, and it is of course not healthy situation for tiger population. With this regarding Aadhaar number, Aadhaar is somewhere and somewhere always in news, and there are many issues and there are many good things as well that are associated with Aadhaar. Here what we are finding, a very small and simple thing to understand, but NRIs are facing problems when it comes to registration of Aadhaar, or whenever they are being asked to produce an Aadhaar card, because many a times they don't have this thing, and it becomes very difficult for them if they want to get a sort of telephone connection or renewing driving license and things like that. So Aadhaar, or the people who are asking for Aadhaar card, they should keep this thing in mind, that whether these people are or whether it is as per the rules and regulation, can you really ask them to produce an Aadhaar card, right? So this sort of things should be kept in mind. With this very interesting news, and the role played by Indian elephants. Many times you find this sort of question, so I thought let me add this thing, because environment, climate change, these are the things that are very important. We are working day and night to ensure that our green cover is as or the quality as well as the quantity of green cover goes up, because it helps in keeping our environment clean. And Indian elephants can play a very important role here. The thing is, what happens basically is when they eat fruit, and it's not only Indian elephants, all other herbivorous animals, when they eat fruit, they take a seed as well with it, right? So these seeds, they don't get digested, most of the seeds, and then they are basically undigested seeds. It comes out with their dung, and finally whenever the conditions are right, this will germinate, and in this way natural expansion of forest takes place. Now we can imagine that elephant is a sort of animal that its range, or you can say it migrates from one place to another. It's always on its foot, isn't it? So compared to say for example other cattle and monkeys, you can understand monkeys have their limited range, but these elephants can travel up to hundreds and hundreds of kilometers. So this thing helps in dispersing these seeds and expansion of jungle. So they play a very important role in this thing. Now interesting news regarding CFC, that is chlorofluorocarbons. Good news, finally ozone hole is getting a bit of healing because of reduction or international ban on this chlorofluorocarbon CFCs. Now what happens basically is that this CFCs predominantly they are released from, or the old time TV, or not TVs, refrigerators and air conditioners, right? ACs and your refrigerators, they used to have a sort of thing, this CFC gases in it, and when they are released in the atmosphere, they climb up high in the sky, they reach this stratosphere zone where you find ozone layer, and when they reach here, when they come in contact with this ultraviolet rays coming from the sun, basically they break down and they release this chlorine, and this chlorine basically destroys this ozone layer, and this causes all this cataracts and skin cancer and things like that. But reduction, or you can say international ban, has basically at present it is observed that these holes are basically healing up. So good news with this, dear friends. a sort of out of box, and the thing is, lemurs, a question on lemur in the past has been asked, and this time again it is in news, so I thought let me show you the picture as well as some basic important information regarding it. You find them in Madagascar, right? There is a film as well, animated film, in which you find them, this lemurs. And lemurs, you find lemurs, a species of lemur in India as well. And basically they have this microbes in their gut or in their tummy, and interesting thing is that this microbes are not passed from parents to, you can say, their children, right, by reproductive system. No, this thing is passed during grooming and scent marking. So it is very interesting thing here. With this, ISRO has announced that January 10th January it is going to launch 31 satellites in one go. It is going to use its PSLV, which is also termed as a sort of workhorse for ISRO, PSLV, Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. And this is going to be, the flight name is C40. Keep this thing in mind. Many times you find this sort of question. And the last important flight was PSLV C37, in which we launched the first Cartosat 2 series satellite along with record 103 satellites at a time. With this, this is a word of the day. Whilst I was searching for some science and tech news for you guys, I came across this thing from All India Radio, so I thought let me share it with you guys. The word is instauration, right? This is how you pronounce them, and basically it means renewal or restoration of a thing, right? So very easy to understand for all of you guys. I have stick this thing particularly for the Hindi medium students, right? As you know that today is Sunday and I deliver the Hindu in Hindi as well. With this, dear friends, these are your answers: Mohenjo-daro, Vasumitra and Central Asia. And with this, I don't have questions for you guys. The reason is that I thought let me give you a sort of day off. You deserve a day off because you have been answering every single day. You do research and things like that. So I thought you can have a sort of break from these questions. But I have a challenge for you guys, and the challenge is that you have to identify the person that you can see on your screen. Let's see how many of you can recognize the person. He's a very important person for our country, and if you can tell me his work or things that are associated with him, that would be great. I want to see how many of you can identify it. Do stick your answer in the comment section. With this, dear friends, I end this discussion here, and make sure you check out studyiq.com, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you hit that notification bell, then you will be notified by the YouTube every time we upload any sort of educational related or any sort of videos that are uploaded. Most of the time, of course, educational related videos, you will be notified by the YouTube. You can download this file from my Facebook page, which is Prashant Timavani. You can follow me as well, and I will share it on our Telegram, official Telegram channel. You can motivate us by giving your like, and I would be waiting for your answer on the challenge. Jai Hind.